Hey, it's your girl Diamond Monet, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, BeaucoupDiamond. I figured today we can kind of like switch it up. It's a new channel, well, not really, but I'm starting to add more content to my channel and be more consistent. So I figured what better way than to get to know me. So I figured at first I was gonna do like a story time and just tell you just random stuff about me, but I figured I could probably just tell you what questions I frequently get asked. So we're gonna jump right into it. Look out. Okay, let's see. Okay, so frequently asked questions with Diamond Monet is my real name Diamond. And I think I really didn't get this question as often until I think I got out of high school. And I actually got it more so like in my workplace. Like I remember when I first started at Hooters, I used to get that question all the time. And it kind of used to work on my nerve because some customers were kind of like rude with it. And they'd be like, is your real name Diamond? Or is that your stripper name?
Coming to the stage is one of the finest ladies here at the Players Club. She goes by the name of Diamond. Now, in this case, she's a man's best friend. Now, y'all know she got bills to pay. So come out your pockets and quit being so cheap.
What's up, man?
It's just like if I was a stripper, like, why would I be here? But anyway, so I kind of got that question a lot working in the service industry. I guess it kind of was somewhat of a conversation starter, but then after, I guess, a couple years, it kind of got boring. So then I think it got to a point to where I asked my manager, I was like, hey, can I just get another name tag? Like, can I just like put a fake one? They were like, nah, you can't do that. You have to have your real name. I was like, okay, whatever. And believe it or not, there's people that would ask me what my name is, and then they would kind of get like rude about it. And then it would get like real provocative. And then I'd have my manager would like kick them out of the establishment because of it. So yeah. But yes, Diamond is my real name. My grandma on my mom's side, she named me Diamond because there was another little girl in the neighborhood named Diamond, and I guess my mom thought it was a dope name. And so here I am. And then also my middle name is Monet. So when I tell people my name is Diamond Monet, they think either it's a stage name or it's I don't know, just a name I just go by. But Monet actually really is my middle name. Everyone on my mom's side of the family, we all have French middle names and they all start with M's. So mine is Diamond Monet. So yeah. So yes, guys, you don't have to ask anymore. My real name is Diamond. That is my government name. So another question I get asked frequently is, where am I from? Okay. So people who aren't from New Orleans say I sound like I'm from Louisiana. But then when I go back home, everybody say that I lost my accent. So a lot of people always ask me like, where am I from?
So glad I got my own. I ain't worried about Josephine.
I'm from New Orleans, born and raised.
Been born in Hawaii.
I lived in New Orleans since up until I was 13. And that kind of like leads me up into my next question. So basically I moved to Texas in 2007. And when I moved here, when I would tell people I'm from New Orleans, like the first thing that they would ask me is like, oh, did you come here from Katrina?
Bruh.
Like, no, like just because I'm from New Orleans, that does not mean I came here for Katrina. Like everybody that's from Louisiana did not move to the state of Texas because of Katrina. Let's get that clear. So, funny story about that. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of ponder on this for a little bit. Okay, so when I first moved here, okay, it was in 2007, and I think I was like in the 8th or 9th grade, right? So when I moved here, I moved out here like in October-ish. So that's like middle of the school year, kind of. So okay, so I moved in the middle. So I moved in the middle of the school year in October. So I go to the office. They give me my schedule. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm looking at my classes. I'm like, all right. So then I noticed something on my schedule, and I'm like, why do I have R's next to all of my classes? Needless to say, I had went to my English class. Oh my God. Okay, so my English class was so slow. Like, I'm talking about, like, I felt like I was like in a 3rd grade reading class. That's how slow it was. So like I was kind of in a daze just at that. So I'm like, all right, well, let me ask somebody. So I find like the nearest kid, and I ask him like, hey, why do I have R's next to my classes? And he was like, dang, they put you in remedial classes. Damn! So I was like, whoa. So I go to the office. I didn't even go to my next class. I went straight to the office. So I go to the office. I go to the principal. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to figure out why I'm in all remedial classes. Like, I'm not slow. I don't have a hard time learning. Like, I have like great comprehension skills. Like, I've always been, good. So she tells me, oh, well, when a lot of the students from New Orleans came from Hurricane Katrina, they were in the 8th grade, but they were on a 2nd and 1st grade reading level. I was like, okay, but I'm not here from Katrina. I'm here from Louisiana, but I mean, this is like 2 years later, like what's going on? So she basically told me if I wanted to get out of all of those remedial classes, that I would have to test out of all of them. So the way they did it was they had to break it up or whatever. No, I'm lying. They didn't break it up. I want to say for like a week straight, I was on the computer testing out of all those classes, like testing out of every subject. So finally, when the testing was over with, not only did they take me out of remedial classes, but I got put in honors English and then honors history. And the rest of my classes, were like normal or whatever. But yeah, I was just like, that was retarded. Like, I was like, how are you going to I was like, so basically you just was like, the hell with my transcript said. You just going to put me in something because that's what you feel. And it's like, you kind of categorize me in a box just because other people from New Orleans, was their reading or their learning wasn't really up to par with Texas standards or whatever, or shit with any school standards for that matter. They were just, behind a lot. So I'm like, how you gonna put me in a box, or how you gonna judge me? So basically you judged me. You assumed because I was from New Orleans that my education was kind of piss poor, pretty much. Needless to say, I was going to private school and been going to private school from kindergarten up until I moved to Texas. So yeah. So that's just a little story time for you. But anyway, let's get back to these questions. So another question I get asked a lot is how old I am. Now, for people that, know me, they know how old I am. But for strangers, like when I'm out in public, I would legitly get carded everywhere. And it's just like, yo, do I not look like I'm over the age of 21? Or like I'll have a conversation with someone in the midst, I might tell them my age, or they may ask me my age. I'm like, yeah, I'm 20-something. And they were like, nah, you like a high schooler or this and that. I'm just like, really? I'm like, okay. So yeah, but I'm 27. So yeah. What else? A lot of people ask me, of course, what my ethnicity is. That's another frequent question. And up until I took my ancestry DNA test, I would just say Black and Creole, or just Creole. But if you want to see that video, go ahead and hit the I, and it'll take you straight to that, and then you can uncover what my background is. So go ahead and check that out. When did you get into modeling, and do you still model? So when I first moved to Texas, my mom put me in modeling. At first, it was more of a hobby and like more of like a self-esteem builder, because believe it or not, I had very, 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 very low self-esteem. And so modeling was more of like a self-esteem builder for me. It was like a hobby. It was something that at first I didn't really think I enjoyed until I kind of like really got in the midst of it. And I remember like going to practices like my first couple times. They're like, oh, you know, you're gorgeous, this and that. And so we would have like runway like practices and stuff like that. And I remember this one in particular time, like my runway coach, he was like, you look like you walking just to be walking. And I don't know why, but it just did something to that just crushed my soul. It just did something to me. And I was like, dang, I look like I'm walking just to be walking. And needless to say, I'm 13 at the time. So everyone else that was with the agency, they were older than me. They didn't have many kids my age that were there because it was a fairly new agency. So mostly everybody there was about between like 18 and probably like their mid-20s. There probably was like a handful of people that probably were maybe in their 30s, but for the most part, it was like 20s. And so like I felt so embarrassed because it's like everybody else, they knew each other, they had been practicing for so long, and then it's like me, and it's like basically in front of everybody, he was like, you just don't know what you're doing. So I went home, and I ain't gonna lie, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna go back. But then I was like, no, I'm gonna work on it. So my mom, she like made me practice. She didn't make me practice, but she encouraged me to practice. And I practiced. And then the next time I went to practice, which was the following week, I killed my walk. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest walk, but it was a whole hell of a lot better than what I was doing. So my rowing coach, he worked with me, and then he like showed me how to walk in like just different styles of walking. And week by week I improved. And then it just became something that I really just love doing. It became more of a passion more versus a hobby from when I started, and then a self-esteem builder. Cause I'm not gonna lie, even though week by week I was getting better, I still felt intimidated.
Talk to you for a second.
Oh, shit.
By a lot of the models around me. And I don't know if it was because I was much younger than them. I just felt really, I don't know, I just had this thing about myself where like I wouldn't really engage in full conversations with the other models. And it wasn't because I didn't like them or I was being like stuck-up-ish or standoffish. It was like I was still dealing with like my own insecurities. And it's like coming into something and you already have low self-esteem, but then when you're around all these older people that are older than you and then more experienced than you, that kind of sets new insecurities in. So it's like I'm battling my old ones and then creating new ones. So, but after a while, I kind of got out of that, and we all really just became a family, and I, broke out of my shell and was a lot more outgoing. And believe it or not, modeling is what helped me become more confident and just really believe in myself. So to go back to the question, so I started modeling when I was 15. I think I said 13, but I was 15. 14, I don't know. You know what? I really don't know. I had to be like 14-ish, 15-ish. Okay, so yeah. So then, do I still model? That's kind of a loaded question because I was modeling consistently for a very long time up until I turned about what, 20, I want to say about 24. And then that's when I kind of like stopped. And then I kind of like pursued acting a little bit more. I kind of like fell in love with acting. I think that we use social media to show others either what we have or at least the people that are smart, you know, promote their businesses. But even with that being said, I feel like social media isn't someone's entire life. It's like maybe a second that it took to take a picture or a minute to write a post. It's not, you don't see everything that person goes through. So it's really easy to say, oh, well, this person is so perfect based off photos. And that's just not, it's not true. I don't know too many people that's gonna, you know, write about or express everything in their life that goes wrong. I mean, I don't even really talk about my family on social media like that. I don't post my kids on my social. I think this past year has been the most I've ever posted my kids on my Facebook. I post my kids on my Snapchat because I choose who I want to be on my Snapchat. Facebook is kind of like friends and networking, so I don't really post much about my family or my kids. So I mean, there's some people who didn't even knew I had kids because I don't post them. I mean, there's people on my Snapchat, on my Instagram who don't even think I have kids because I don't post them on my Instagram like that. I'm really private when it comes to my personal life. So a fear that I have is I'm like terrified of water. Like after Hurricane Katrina, like I got like anxiety. And so it's like, it freaks me out when I see kids around water. I don't get in beach water or I don't really do the whole swimming thing. And it's crazy because I love to swim. I learned how to swim when I was like 3 or 4. And after Katrina, it just gave me anxiety when it comes to water. So I guess that's like one of my fears. So yeah. Well, guys, that kind of wraps up a short Q&A about me. So yeah, now I'm not like a stranger danger. Basically, these are a few questions that my subscribers and friends on Facebook and just people like on the daily just ask me. So I figured I'd just go ahead and make a video and say what people mainly ask me, how to like just answering. So hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions about me or want to know anything else about me, just leave them in the comments below and I will be sure to answer them. So yeah, baby. I'm done.